What's going on, guys? This is the 100 TV, episode one of our official podcast. I'm here with Ghost. Yes, this is the story of Ghost. If this is your first time on our channel, basically it started with me telling my story, the story of others. But now, for the first time ever, we're going to start giving a platform to some of these guys that I know, some other people that I've met that have got similar backgrounds to me. I served 17 behind the wall, incarcerated in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And actually, that's where I met my first guest. I know him as a friend, a brother, colleague, all of these things. Great guy. But I want to get into it, man. Without further ado, man, go introduce yourself to the world.
What's going on, people? So to him, I'm Ghost. To a lot of the guys that that's what they call me. But now I'm just a family man, old Nate Dogg. So my name is Nate Brown. I'm from Illinois, Southern Illinois, and I just happened to meet him in St. Bride's in Virginia. So that's how
Yeah.
that went.
And what St. Bride's, in case anybody doesn't know?
Ooh, St. Bride's is St. Bride's Correctional Center. It's basically just a prison in Virginia. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, we definitely gonna get a little bit into that. Man, getting straight into it. You said Southern Illinois, man. How were you raised, man? A lot of times we want to know the background or the backstory, man. What led you through your journey of life to where you are today?
Well, yeah. So I'm from Southern Illinois. I'm from Belleville. For those who know where that is, but long story short, my pops was in the military. He was in the Air Force, so he got stationed out here. So we came out here. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. So that's how we got to Illinois. Just coming up, um, 5 years old, my parents split. That was a rough thing on me mentally, and everything else. So basically grew up being two people for two different households, and just trying to make sure everything was smooth. Started getting into a little trouble as a teen. Just the regular, just stealing the stuff from the little corner store, or whatever. Just what happens around here. And
Why do you started? I mean, you spoke on your parents splitting, but and then you spoke about the stealing. Like, why were you doing that? You said it just happens, but was there a reason behind it? Was it an attention thing? Was it a you were just falling in love with the neighborhood? Like, or is it just you was just a daredevil?
no, really, it started with just the people I was hanging around with, just my association. So that's what it was. That's what they was doing, and so falling in line. That's what I did. And before you know it, that's just it's kind of fitting in. That's just what happens.
Yeah, I already we used to take candy from the corner store, man. So I already, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, like, what other things can you remember, or what other major points, growing up, childhood, teenage years, school, etc., stick out to your mind? It might have helped shape you or led you down, a certain path.
Mm. So I was like the only boy, and granted, like a lot of my family's not here, so I call them my adoptive family. But it was really just people that my mom and dad were just cool with that became aunts and uncles, and then their kids became cousins. So I'll speak on cousins, and there may not be blood, but they definitely family. So that's what happened, and so I was the only boy around. So and then the rest of them were females. So naturally, I had to, if they fell into some trouble with some guy they was messing with, then I had to fight them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you know, just ignorant stuff. I walked to school my whole high school career. So it's like, you might get into the occasional scuffles at school, and then it was nothing for them to continue after school because everybody pretty much stayed in the area. So, we had a field behind the Walmart, and so that was just the fighting grounds. Everybody went there.
That
If you got some beef with somebody, that's where you going, behind Walmart.
it was understood that everybody was pulling up with the popcorn too, I'm sure.
Oh man, yeah, yes.
So I mean, aside from that, I know a little bit about your background. I've shared you know, on my platform that I'm ex-military. You know what I'm saying? I'm a vet. I guess that's
Yeah.
the best way to say it. You're a vet, so you want to talk about why you or how you ended up in the military, and then you know how that military life was as a young man. Because I'm gonna tell you now, when I was in the military, I enlisted when I was 17, and it was bananas. I was not ready. It was crazy, but it was. But how getting into that?
Oh man, I was 17 too. I graduated not necessarily early. I was just young, so I graduated at 17. I had already actually got depped in, so that's actually delayed entry. So I was already scheduled to go to the military before my graduation. I already had my ship out date.
Same thing.
Um, so by that time, I really didn't have a good relationship with my dad. And I say that for a point. But like, so I was at that time I started staying with my mom. At first, I was staying with my dad, and I would see my mom on the weekends. So then, because he's Air Force, so I told him, I didn't actually tell him. So I leave. I think I might have told him the week before I left, and so I left. I'm 17. I didn't really have like my. Don't get me wrong, my dad was there. I had uncles. I had other men to look up to, but yeah, I was just young, and now I'm free, and I'm in the military. So it's like, yeah, you said it's bananas, man. It's so much stuff that you're open up to, and being 17, but you're in the military, you got an ID card, so I'm able to buy alcohol, and not
Around
that I wasn't already in it, but we're just party hardy. I had no responsibilities, no kids. I didn't even have a car, so I didn't have a car note. So all I had was a cell phone bill. I can eat for free on base or on the ship because I was Navy.
mm.
So it's just like I was just splurged and went crazy. So
So getting into that, I mean, I know I was definitely wild. I started getting in trouble when I was there. Did you get in any trouble when you were in the military?
oh, plenty, dude. Oh man, plenty.
They don't
I
talk
was.
about it.
You said, oh man. So just goofy stuff that you expect young people to get into. Nothing ever like um as far as military wise anyway, it was just, falling asleep on watch or late for muster because I've been up partying all night and woke up late. Um, just
So just
anything. Caught sleeping somewhere I'm not supposed to be, it's just.
yeah, I remember we had went one week and we went to Canada because I was stationed in Minot, North Dakota,
Mm,
and we decided we wanted to stay Sunday night to party and try to be back in Monday morning. We made it back, but man,
oof.
yeah, it was man, and paid for it, and yeah. But so let's talk about a little bit. Did you do 4 years, or how much time did you do in the military, and then what happened after military life?
Ooh, okay. So I did 5.5 years in the Navy. It was all sea duty. I did 3 tours, and so for a tour is basically like a long. It's not like a underway, like a couple of days. I was out for um, 7 months, 8 months, and then a 9 month deployment. So I actually had more sea time than anybody that I went to school with that I was cool with. So, they're always like, "Hey, we got this going on. Let's hang out." I was like, "Bro, I'm going on the way," or I was always gone, so I missed out on a lot. So that my last tour, I was actually married with a child, so I missed out on basically his whole first year of life. So, like I said, I was married. Wound up getting into some trouble with some people outside of the military, and that's how I got into the prison system.
Mm,
So it wasn't even military related. I'll say that. So
mm.
um, that's how that all worked out.
So do you want to dig a little bit deeper into that? Talk about that, like, because our
Yeah.
whole thing, the whole thing about this platform is we trying to teach people through our experiences. You
Oh
know,
yeah, for sure.
so I'm just thinking. Obviously, I didn't know you back then, but I know me. I know you. I know being in the military. I'm doing the math. You said 5.5 years, so you're still young.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then you say you ran into a different group of people.
Yep.
Like what? How did that transpire? How did you cross paths with them, even though you were on the path, a good path in the military? You were heading
Yeah.
direction, but it seemed like you ended up going a different direction with a group of people. So what happened? What transpired that made you sway that direction?
So not to say that I'm like no tough guy or nothing like that. I
Mm,
was really just wasn't. I had no real guidance, so I was just kind of one of those knuckleheads that just I like to have fun, and that was really just it. As long as I was having fun, and as long as the people around me were having fun, it was cool. So I was pretty much down for a lot of different stuff that I wouldn't necessarily say were bad or negative. It was just something that I probably shouldn't have been doing, especially at that age and at that time and that point in my life where I was. So, like I said, at the time, I was married, and so my wife wound up moving. We had some family members with us, so her brother and sister were with us, and my son, obviously. So when she was moving, I was on the way. So she had like our in-laws, my brother and sister-in-law, they were still in like high school. So it was like a couple of their friends wound up helping us move and stuff like that. So when I came home, I was in a totally different place than
mm,
where I left from. So they would come over. It was really my brother-in-law's friends. So it's not anybody I really hung out with on a regular basis. It was just they would come over, I see them. My brother-in-law and them would split or whatever would happen. They would just sometimes they stayed and hung out, but most times they just left.
right.
So I wound up seeing them walking one night, and mind you, at the time I'm still, I was under the influence of marijuana and I've been drinking. I probably got into it with my wife, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm out. That was just my way of coping with stuff. So I'm out. I'm driving, listening to music, clearing my head, see them walking, ask them if they wanted to ride. Of course, if I'm walking, I'm gonna want to ride too. You know what I'm saying? So um, it was like, hey man, you'll stop us by somewhere so we can get some weed and stuff. So I'm like, I bet, I'm high. You should be high too. You know what I mean? Just wanting everybody to be on an equal basis and just have fun, chill, relax. And so I take them to a spot. They get out. I'm chilling. I stayed in the car. They come back. Oh, you ain't had no weed. I'm like, hey, can you take us to this other spot? I bet. You know what I mean? Get there. They come back. Probably happened like a whole nother time. And I'm like, all right, well, damn, like, what kind of weed, man? These ain't got no weed. You know what I'm saying? Not because I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And
Oh, shoot. I'm not connecting the dots, right?
yeah.
So that was just, spatial awareness on my part. So finally drop them off at home. Like I don't know, maybe 2 weeks later. Cause mind you, I just came off my 9-month deployment, so I haven't even been home long. Maybe 2 weeks, and so another 2 weeks go by. So my wife at the time, she was like, "Yeah, did you hear what happened to such and such?" I was like, "Nah." And it's like, "Yeah, they got locked up." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not
Oh,
thinking, yo, yeah, I'm not thinking about that, right?" I'm like, "Oh man, that sucks," you know. And so another 2 weeks go by. I'm on the ship, and my chief pulls me to the side. He's like, "Hey, NCIS wants to holler at you when you get an opportunity.
and it's,
Just go ahead and leave off." So NCIS is the naval police. So yeah, I'm like, okay, not thinking about it, right? So I get down there, and then they asked me because it was two of them. There was a guy and somebody he knew. So he's like, "Do you know this person and this person?" I was like, "Well, I don't know him. I don't know him. I see them sometimes around the neighborhood, but I don't really know who they are." And so he asked me if I knew a number. And I was like, "No, I don't know that number. It's not saved on my phone. I don't know it." You know what I mean? And so, well, they was like, "Well, we pulled your call log and you got a call from this number." And so I'm like, okay. Turns out these kids stole, it was kids too, mind you, they're in high school, stole the phone from one of the guys and called me with the phone.
mm,
I'm not knowing, you know what I'm saying? We weren't even on the phone like that. He was just like, "Hey, this is my new number" type deal. All right, cool. Didn't save it. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. And so then it was like, well,
man.
yeah. So I was like, well, look, man, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? And so, of course, you know how they are. It was like, do you know they're saying that you told them to drop these people? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait, what? Yeah.
Hey,
So they tell me that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now let me call my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been in like this type of trouble. So I'm like, okay. I'm not really, because I'm clueless to what's going on. Like,
so
what's going on?
let me stop right there real quick.
Okay.
Never been in that type. Now I know what I was going through.
Yeah.
For I knew when I got picked up, and you know what I'm saying, when them cuffs got, but whatever, and I'm sitting there in the police. Matter of fact, when they first put me in a cell, I remember the feeling. But what was the feeling? Or did it kick in at that point yet? You saying you had never been through that? Were you still kind of still figuring it out? Or what was the point where everything came, I don't want to say crashing down, but maybe woke you up?
So when I say that, the only time I ever been in a situation like that was back in like my childhood.
Hmm.
And like I got picked up by the cop and he just took me home. You know what I'm saying? So it's never
Yeah,
like I've been to a precinct or nothing like
yeah,
that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I was ever a bad dude. I just did some stupid stuff. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I can tell you.
So yeah. So it really didn't seem real. Cause like, it's like we at that time I think the show 24 was out. So we used to watch that, but so it's like that wasn't my situation though. It's like, hey, we just want to ask you some questions. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? And so it was really just, okay, you ask me all these questions, just get to the point. Like, what do you want? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so then they're saying like, yeah, well, these two have said that you told them. Oh, first they asked me what my license plate was. So I was like, okay, that's my license plate. Of course, they got a picture of it, so they put that on the. Is this it? I'm like, yeah. So I guess the last dude they robbed or whoever they robbed, they took a picture of my license plate. We driving off. I'm not thinking I gotta get away, so I'm not going the fastest. You know what I mean? So he probably ran out and snapped it anyway. Yeah. So yeah, this was taken by such and such, and he says you guys robbed him. And then the two we picked up said that you told him to rob him. Like, whoa. So that's when that was the moment. Because now I'm getting dizzy. I kind of swayed a little bit. That whole feeling like, what?
I already
Like,
know.
what?
I already know.
So, at that point, I'm like, I don't know why they would say that. Like, I didn't, why would they say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
It's like now I'm like, okay, robbery. Why are we talking about robbery? Who did we rob? You know what I mean?
So I know anybody knows my story. I had a robbery charge or robbery charges, and when I was fighting them, they each one carried 5 to life. Was that the same thing for you?
Mm. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Did they charge you with anything? Like, did they try to get you use of firearm or anything crazy? Like, I don't know what the situation was exactly, but any other charges attached to that?
Yep. They gave me because I did have a pistol. So they gave me use of a firearm in the commission of a felony or something like that because I had it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yep.
And I know use of firearms 3 years. Each one after that is like 5. And if anybody
Yep.
know what a lot of times the judicial system does is give you an example. For all my youngest that's in the streets living that life, if you kick somebody's door in and you rob somebody, there's 4 people in the house, they can give you 4 robberies, 4 gun charges, 4 conspiracies. They can trump everything up and make sure
Yep.
you come home. That's why you shouldn't be playing in the streets and doing things like that. Ask us because we could tell you a little something. Even and your
Yeah.
story is crazy because I mean, for you, me, I knew it was up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, similar situation. I was a drop, but I knew it was up. You, it seems like you was living, going through your life thinking you're doing something. So in a lot of way, and I don't know, is you tell the rest of the story, but it's almost like that's a wrongful convict. That's crazy, man.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That's
And
like
so
your catch 22 because if they rob, yeah, you were, but you weren't. You were there, but you didn't know.
exactly. And so this is how they tried to spin it, and this is just my lack of knowledge of the system and how it worked. So basically, they tried to say because I was just in the car, it's conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that was like the catch-all right there. It's like, oh, you was with him. So that's how they even got me for the overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's how they booked me. Conspiracy. So that's all I had was conspiracy at first.
Mm. And then they did
So,
trumped it.
trumped it. So I remember after they say that, I got to see my wife before they took me out. And so she's panicking, I'm panicking. I'm like, hey, just call, call these people, call my mom, call my dad, call, what I'm saying, let them know what's going on with me. Because at this point, I don't have my phone, I don't have nothing. So, and I
That's,
remember they put me in that holding cell.
yeah.
They
I
put
already
me
know.
in a holding cell. It felt like about 25 degrees in there.
Yeah, always.
I was like, bruh, what? And I know I'm laughing now just because, I'm on the other side of it, but like,
I already know, boy. So let me ask you, so now I know you're in jail. I know that eventually you got to the pod, etc. But when you started fighting your case, or let me back up. I don't know if they gave you a bond or whatever, but you started fighting your case. Did you get a lawyer? Did you have a public defender? Do you want to talk about that? Like, what was your approach when you came? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was ill-equipped, uneducated. I didn't
mm,
family didn't know. We went in. It had I known what I know now, I know I wouldn't have did as much time. But maybe your situation was different. But you want to talk about that, like when it came to
oh
actually
yeah,
your case?
yeah. So I originally got bonded out for the conspiracy because obviously I'm in the military. I'm not a flight risk, and so for people that don't know, if you have a non-violent charge, you'll
Mm,
get a bond most likely.
right.
So I got a bond. I'm in the military, so I go to work. I was probably out for maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, something like that. So and mind you, I'm out of state. Like I'm from Illinois, so I don't know nothing out here with Virginia.
Mm,
So now I'm trying to figure out like the whole lawyer thing. So actually I got a lawyer.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we did the research, my mom did the research. We all did some research and found a lawyer, which is crazy. But um found a lawyer, had to pay for that. So now it's like all of my savings, all the stuff, the money I'm stacking up, had to go towards a lawyer, go for bond. And then they get locked up again because they charged me with the whole the robbery.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. So then they locked me back up. So I got bonded out again, but now I'm bonded to the ship. Like I can't go home. And our ship was actually in the shipyard at the time. So it was okay, but still now it's like I can't be home. I'm not in my bed.
That's
Once
correct.
again, I'm missing out on life with my wife and my son. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm in the shipyard, bro. Like people complain about being at work. Well, imagine if you can't leave work. You
Like
can't leave.
you just locked in.
Locked in. And so, I'll probably reference this later, but I just feel like the military, like the Navy, really kind of prepared me for doing time without really knowing, just because of the compartmentalization and the being away that I already was doing.
It's institutionalization, man. It's
Yeah.
conditioning, man. It's crazy. It's the military, and I'm gonna let you as we get further in, but the military lifestyle does complement in some weird way or connect to prison lifestyle. But
Yep.
um, you got the lawyer. You're bonded to the ship. You're fighting the case. You're in front of the judge. The day that you get your time, what's going on that day? The day when you get sentenced.
So by the time I get sentenced, because again, my bond got revoked.
Mm-hmm.
So that was at the beginning of the year, so like January. So now I'm locked up. And so me and my wife at the time, we was kind of already going through some stuff, trying to figure out life with me being home and having a kid and parenting, just things that compound in the average life. And so at this point, I'm locked up. So now she's got to figure stuff out. I'm still technically, no, at the time I get sentenced, I'm out. So there's no more money coming in on my end. So now she's trying to figure stuff out. She wound up got out already. And so basically she moved back here, back home. And so at that time we weren't even speaking. You know what I'm saying? At the time I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you
what
know.
that's what incarceration is designed to do, though. Let's be
hmm
Anybody that doesn't know, incarceration is designed to destroy the individual and their family, meaningful relationships, bonds, etc. Man, that's just the truth. You know,
Facts.
I'm not trying to cut you, but I definitely had to touch on that.
Oh yeah. So again, prior to me getting sentenced, I'll just kind of touch on it since we speaking on the communication. Before she left, like I was in Virginia Beach. So we don't even get to see our people face to face. Like when they come and visit,
Yeah,
it was like through like a monitor.
yeah.
They're not even in the same building or as you sometimes, and like you just on the phone with a screen. And so like even that right there, that joint hurts your soul, man. Seeing your wife and your kid through a screen, you
You,
don't even get to see them face to face.
you trying to
So
bridge, you trying to tell them it's gonna be all right, and you can't even have human contact, man. You can't.
not at all.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. So
So days,
so now speeding it up. Oh
yeah,
yeah, my bad. Going to the sentencing, we're no longer in communication. I'm not even sure of our status at that point in time. Um, Going through some bouts of depression. You know what I'm saying? Because that, especially for me, I was what 21.
shock.
So 22. Matter of fact,
Shell-
at that time I'm 22, almost 23, and it's like my whole world just flipped upside down, literally, like flipped. So, um, get there, sensing I hated going to court. I'm freezing, like I'm numb almost. It's so cold, and just trying to figure out what the judge is gonna say. And so at first they gave me 20 years, and then they suspended 15. So I had to serve 5 with the chance of early parole or whatever. You know how that goes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But
I'm like,
hey, I'm gonna tell you, if anybody doesn't, man, and I got blessed too, man. I can honestly say the judge played fair in my case. But those robbery, I've seen guys with one robbery get sent away for 25 years, like crazy, man.
yeah, yes,
So when it comes to those robbery charges, man, it's the roll of the dice right there. And
it is.
and that's the ill thing about judges, man, the judicial system. I'm definitely gonna talk on. That judge can wake up in a bad mood.
Mm, yeah,
And
yes.
does. Instead of giving you 3, you know what? I'm gonna give you 7 because the human mind is flawed, and he could be dealing.
Mm,
We ain't gonna get all into that though, man. We ain't get all. But I just want to speed, keep going, man. So you get your time. You got 5. Were you? Was it a bittersweet moment? Where you like? Was it a you could breathe again because you knew what you were facing, or you like, damn, how I'm gonna do this? Like, what type of emotions were you going through when you got your time when you knew you had to do, 5 basically?
um, it was bittersweet. At the same time, that anybody wants to have faith that they're gonna beat their case. Just anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm a good guy. I had some people, get on the stand for me and kind of go through my character and all of that stuff, right? Which like I said, I wasn't a dirtbag guy, so I still, was a
Yeah,
pretty decent person to a lot of good people. So they came and vouched for me. But at the end of the day, they gave me 5, and actually, I was just, I was happy. You know what I'm saying? That it wasn't double digits, and I
man.
say that because like everybody, you don't just when you go to court, just for educational purposes, you don't go by yourself.
No,
You get on the train, man, the gang train, and they shackle you up, and you go with a good 14 to 25 people at a time. So I'm sitting in a in a bullpen. That's what they call it, in the bullpen
I was
with
saying,
like 15 to 20 guys, and you got to think we're all together, all going for various things in our trial, and you see some dude come back, he's like, they gave me 35 years. They gave me this astronomical number of time. And you're like,
And you're up next.
and you're up next.
Yo, they gave me 47 years for jaywalking, and you coming up with a robbery. So look,
Hey,
I want to get your time. Boom. Um, now you go from the jail to prison. Did you
okay.
go to receiving? Did you go straight to a prison? Because I know before I came home, I got straight to prison. They didn't even go to receiving. And also, like, what was the biggest difference between life and prison life? So, if there was, everybody's different.
So I did go to receiving. I can't even remember the name of the place. Um, but even being there, it was just a huge difference because, like, first you get there, your first month or two, you're 23 and 1. And so basically that just means you only got an hour to be outside that cell.
That's it.
So
Then whatever you got.
yeah. So and you don't get no option. Like, you're gonna go outside, you go shower, you go hang out in the break room, in the rec room, whatever you're gonna do, you got an hour to do it. So yeah. So that was a shock. But by that time I already know how to do time. So
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty chill. I was already used to reading books. I was probably reading a 600-page book in 3 days.
Yeah, you would.
So
You all well. When I knew you, we in the veterans. We were in a veteran support group, I think.
yeah, yep.
So, and I was over there, man. Even though I was over there, I was still with the bit, but I was over there. I was doing something, trying to live the right way. But you still, I knew you were a smart guy. And in the veteran support group, you know, for whatever reason, there's more veterans from, one complexion than the other. Not saying whatever, but I was like, okay, here's a young dude. He's black like me, military. He's smart. He communicates. Man, let me see what he's talking about. Um, you know, and what's crazy is I met you. I worked my way down from a level 4. So you were coming from the jail. You went there. I'm
Yep.
4 there. So it was just a different time, man. St. Bride's. I'm gonna let you talk about St. Bride's because a lot of people want to ask, what is the level 2 like? You know what I'm saying? Level 2. I mean,
Mhm.
it's, for me, I've been on a few different level 2 spreads. I've seen some crazy things. I've seen some funny things. Like, what's level 2 life like in prison? And what's some, like, a story you might remember, something crazy, funny, whatever. Because a lot of times people want to know, like, what happens behind those walls, man.
Oh man. So just everybody, oh, shoot, my bad. Everybody comes into it with the mindset of whatever they see on TV. So by this time, like I said, I've been in a few scuffles. I know how to do my time, stay out the way. You know what I'm saying? By that time, I'm not really on no rah rah stuff, but at the same time, it's like I can handle my business if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going everywhere. At this point with my guard up. Like, okay, you can't slip. You know what I'm saying? I want to observe. I want to see what's going on, how it's going on, and then before I can really fully accept where I am and how I'm going to move. So it was definitely different than what I was expecting. Like I said, I came from receiving, but even receiving, like, it was a couple of people that died while I was there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
not really knowing what to expect, because at that time I think receiving, you got everybody and you just mixing them up. So you got level 5s with level 1s and people that's going home in 2-3 months with people that got 130 years. You know what I'm saying? That we all in one area.
It's
So to be on a to be on a level 2, um, it was definitely different. So it wasn't what I expected. I walk into the pod and it's people just hanging out. So I was in a it's not like what I was used to with bars and cells and jails, 2 people to a room. It was
they
like
got
98 people.
fire in there, or the washers, washer and dry in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just picking up a few things like, okay, this looks like a Fed prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, this looks like it's gonna be easy peasy. And it was, in a sense, it's in the sense of being locked up.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it was definitely some things. Like, one thing I can honestly say that I didn't like was the shakedowns. Like that's just I wasn't used to stuff like that. Like in the jail, you don't have too much. You
Explain.
got
Tell people what shake down. Like if you CEO and you shook down, what would you
man.
walk in there?
So it's just demoralizing, man. So really, you got people coming into your living area, your living space at like 1 to 2 in the morning to wake you up out your sleep, to mess up all your bed, your sheets, and they're looking for whatever they're looking for. But it's like if you got beef with a guard or something, they gonna make sure to undo all your folded clothes, take everything you own out of your lockbox,
Flip
and
every.
just everything. They're gonna flip your mattress. You know what I'm saying? And granted, like, okay, I'm locked up. I don't got too much, but still, like the fact is, like, you just gonna disrespect everything that I do have. They put a limit on your pictures, but you want to be as in tune with your family. And oh, you got too many pictures. They're taking your pictures. They
Man,
taking your stuff. And
I've
I'm
had
like,
I've go plant something on me one time, Sussex.
yo, yo,
I've seen it all, man. He put a razor, and if that's all it was 1 yard, and it was the most foul stuff ever. Do anything about it.
man,
Uh,
yeah.
so look, while in prison, I gotta ask you. I know for me, I had time to think. I had time to reflect, look back on certain things that I
Oh,
made, relationships, etc. I got to know myself, right? What
mhm.
what's the greatest lesson you learned, or what's something I learned through incarceration or through that experience? You know what I'm saying? As a whole,
Hmm.
I had to hit you.
Man, yeah. That was hard. I learned a lot of life lessons locked up. So really just respect.
Mm,
And I don't mean like just like in person, but like the actual meaning of respect, like how to treat people. You know what I'm saying? And,
mm,
and I used to think like, okay, golden rule, treat people how you want them to treat you. But I learned like it's treat people how they want to be treated. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? Still be yourself. But like if they might not like the stuff that you like, they might not agree with the stuff you agree with. So it's almost like I'm forcing my beliefs onto somebody.
mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn that. I had to learn like
That's
the
major.
people that you huh?
I said that's major though.
Yeah. I had to learn that the people that you expect to be there ain't gonna be there.
Man,
And the people that you don't there's people that you don't expect to be there to be there.
they be the ones that show up.
Oh man. Like,
That's the gift and the curse of prison. And I told somebody yesterday, I said the curse is your way, family, missing out. I said gift is you exactly with you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Me, exactly who everybody was, you know.
So it was crazy, bro. One of the biggest lessons I can honestly say I learned is you can't help people that don't want to be helped.
No.
That was probably one of the biggest ones, man. I seen a lot of people doing a lot of stuff that I'm just like, bruh, like even like coming home. Like there's so many people that I seen you leave, like even in jail, like leave and they come back before dinner trays. Like,
I
how?
just I just did about that on TikTok. Something about when I'm scrolling down and I see somebody that just came to prison go right back. It happens
Go right back.
way too many times. Just spoke about when coming home, and I talk about that, right? Um,
Hmm.
there's so many flaws with transition. There's so many flaws in rehabilitation, individuals while they locked up, and there's so many flaws when it comes to transitioning the individual out of incarceration. Um, what are some of the things as far as like your transition on? Was there any difficult obstacles, anything like that?
I would honestly say like I had a place to come home to, so that wasn't anything major for me. I do know that a lot of people did have trouble, even like from people saying that they can come home to their house, and then it's like they can't go. You
Oh,
know what I'm saying? Like I would hear that from, certain people that was helping inmates find, their exit strategy and things like that. There's like, yeah, this so and so thinks that they're going to their parents' house, and I call them to verify, and the parents like they don't want them to come there.
yeah.
So that's something I didn't have to really, worry about. The hardest challenge that I had was reacclimating into my son's life
Mm,
and finding a job.
right. What was so? I mean, a lot of us we can kind of put the pieces together as far as reconnecting the challenges that would be um
Mm.
to a loved one, especially a child. The job, I want to touch on that real quick. I remember the first interview I went to, it was for a reach truck position.
Hmm.
I just wanted a job. I knew I needed a job. So in my mind, I thought that I could read this or watch this YouTube video the night and learn how to drive this reach truck on it before a day of my life. And
We.
I went in there to the interview and I crashed into that wall. I did 360. I did everything I weren't supposed to do. And needless to say, they ain't called me back. It was funny because 6 months later, I was a lead in the warehouse and I drove a reach truck, a cherry picker, and all these different things, man. But I remember coming out
Yeah.
for me, my wife was out there in the car because I was still scared to drive, even though I had my license. For me, it was different. I had been gone for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just looked at my wife and I was like, I messed up. I said something like, I messed up. And she's like, it's okay. But to me, it was the end of the world. But that was my experience. You just made me remember that, man. But what was your experience as far as like the job hunt, frustration as an ex-felon and all that, those titles that they throw at us?
It was hard. So they didn't have like Uber yet. It wasn't none of that. And so I remember I would put in like, now mind you, I'm fresh home. I got my license, but I had to recertify and all of that. So I couldn't drive. So I'm walking everywhere, dude. Walking everywhere, or I could get my grandmother to take me, somewhere because she was like, I could drive. She would not let me take her car
Mm,
until I got my license, bro.
right.
So either she's taking me somewhere or I'm driving or I'm walking. And
Mm.
so now I got my son. So he was with me for that summer. I came home June 2nd. So I get him for the summertime. So I went from having all this time with him because I'm not working to um I remember I'll never forget this is the one I can't remember what all I applied for, but I remember this one. And so I go to apply for a produce restock. Basically, that's what it is. I'm just stocking produce for Dearberries, man. It's a grocery store. And I go in for the interview, and the lady's like, "Man, we talked about the felony," and she was shocked. So I bring it up, and she was like, "You're probably the first person that's been honest about something like that." I'm like, "Well, you gonna find it. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna find it. If you give them the right social security number, they're gonna find it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?" So, I was just open, and
Mhm.
so after that interview, she was like almost guaranteed me the position. And so I come home, I'm happy. We celebrate. And so then I get this phone call maybe a couple of days later, and she told me I didn't get the job because of my felony and stuff. So I was like, that crushed me, bro. Because I'm like,
All
if I'm not good enough to stock produce, some vegetables. Like
that
it
right
hit me so hard, bro. Like I broke down crying. And it's crazy to think like that, but it's like something so simple weighs so much to me.
is real.
So
But because as an ex-felon, I'm like this. You come home from prison, you apply for this job in shells, you're clearly trying to make it in society. When you come home, if I don't know if you're on probation or not,
yeah,
but they're telling you how you need, and then you're looking up, you can't get, then you're trying to figure out, well, what, and I think that's when a lot of people, if they're not in that, mind state, I think that's when they start to slip back because there's a lot.
Yeah.
They just would have fought just a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Put out one more,
Hmm.
they probably wouldn't be where they are right now, man. So you push through that, even though it tore you down. I had moments.
Yeah, definitely did.
That readjustment phase, and then you fighting and you trying to accomplish something, and it becomes impossible. But what was your first? You ended up getting a job gig. Like, what was the first job that you were able to get?
uh, so I actually worked for a what is it called? I just had it in my head. But basically, a temp service. I worked
Mhm.
for a temp service, and so
Shout out
I
to the
didn't even.
too.
Hmm?
If you're ex felon, go to a temp service to get a job. If you don't have to worry
Oh,
about it.
for
Shout out
sure,
to
for sure. That's
for but
and it's crazy because like I forget. I think it might have been my uncle. He suggested it after he was just kind of seeing me how I was just struggling to find a job. He was like, "Why don't you just go to a temp service?" Because
yeah,
he worked in a warehouse. That's how he got a job. I
yup.
was like, "All right, cool." So I finally go. I finally go to a temp service, and I didn't even have like one stable job. Like I would go here to this catering spot and help them, load and unload their stuff
Mhm.
for a couple hours or do dishwashing, and then I might go to with a guy, and he gets paid to basically just take people's trash. Those people that come to your house and
Mhm.
like foreclosed homes and take all their stuff out, and yeah, so that's what I was doing.
Work.
Uh, yeah, like just anything to bring some money in, like
But how
anything.
were you making in prison? I always ask because I know when I was, what were you making in prison? Because I was happy when I got a job, regardless out here.
Bro, I think I made $27 like a month or something like it was something retarded.
They 27 an hour or something crazy. He might have made. I know that you could make where we was at. You could make 7, 35, and 42. I don't know the exact numbers, right?
Hmm.
Some cents an hour. So that's why a lot of times, I mean, when I came, man, I worked a job like it was the holy
Yeah.
grail. I was like, oh, I can make real money, right? You know. Um,
Yeah.
I want to talk about a couple more things. Man. You home, the job hunt. I always like to ask questions about those because people need to know about that. Like, might
Oh
go
yeah.
things. Um, but I want to fast forward, and the reason I fast forward because you said something in the beginning. I'm not a ghost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You reemerge, Nate the Dream Builder. You
Yes, sir.
you a world class father. Uh, you met. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes it seems like impossible in this day and age. I tell every incarcerated guys like get a wife. You know,
Oh,
get
what? Yes, sir.
so talk, talk about the excuses away. This is somebody that story. He didn't know what was going on. Ended up in ridiculous situation. Um, goes from there, does his time. Doesn't let it beat him up. Doesn't let it define him. Um, comes on reemerge. So what's going on with you nowadays? Nate the team builder, Nate Brown, Noor, all the things, man. Talk about what life is now to you, what it means to you,
Mhm.
what good stuff, man. What's going
So like you said, I'm married now. I have 4 kids, ranging from 16 to 3. So that's in and of itself is just like I don't know, it's pandemonium, bro. So it's like, but I
on?
definitely we're in the process of breaking generational curses in the household as far as the way we parent. Because I know me growing up, the belt was law. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever was in arm reach, that's what you getting beat down with. So we definitely learn to just parent different. We're speaking more, like give our kids the freedom to express themselves respectfully. So that's been a big thing, just parenthood. I'm working still in the warehouse, but making more than $27 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you grind.
For sure. I actually do some graphic design work on the side, and then I also have a online store that's taken off. So that's been where the bulk of my time goes. Me and the wife, we going to be celebrating 2 years coming up here, but we've been knowing each other since high school. So that's definitely that's been a blessing. She's crazy, crazy cool. But one thing I can say, she keeps me out of trouble. For sure. She's the backbone in this household. You know what I'm saying? It's like, especially when I'm out, building our business and things like that. She's definitely taking care of the home team, and that's she's a blessing for sure. Probably the biggest blessing I've had since I've been
Don't
home.
I got about her. She's a Green Bay Packers fan, but it's all
Oh
good.
yeah. Like, yeah, she goes hard
Um,
for them Packers too.
and I'm a Bears fan. I'm ready for tomorrow. But
Let's go.
let's go. NFL here. I want to give you a chance before we go to talk to anybody. If you have one message, whether to a young man, young lady, or not, if it's to an individual, something out there in the airways, man, I want to give people opportunity to do this right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say, man, just watch your association, the people you be around, man. Because I can honestly say you were one of the pivotal people that found me, and I'm glad that we were able to connect how we did. Because you really took me under your wing, man, and that's something I can honestly say I appreciate. And you were one of the guys that actually kind of not necessarily taught me how to do time, but you definitely refined it, though. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? You gave me, almost a different perspective on how to view things and situations. So I do want to say that. But just a testament to your association, the people you hanging around. Like I said, I found out that a lot of the people that I was hanging with didn't have my back when I failed. And don't get me wrong, I don't blame them, because I
Yeah,
understand life goes on. Y'all, they have families. But it's just like the people that you think are going to have your back, life goes on, man. Life goes on. And I don't want people to be like, take it personal. Because I did for a while, but not trying to be a preacher, like you put yourself in that predicament, but you got to think it's all about respect, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't ask you to, or maybe they did, whatever the situation is, man. Just really watch, do what they're about, how they move, how they act. Does that align with what you trying to do and where you trying to go?
indeed. Hey, I think that's a wrap. Episode 1. Um, episode 1 in the books. Gonna have you back though, but next on a couple of different topics.
Oh, for sure.
Want to follow my brother? It's Nate _ for the Dream Builder. Matter of fact, it's up. It's been up. It's been thicker, man.
Yes, sir.
Salute to everybody joining episode. Everybody that's pushing the content. Um, and the next time we always keep. It's been a privilege and an honor.
Yes, sir. Appreciate